Hello there, welcome back to Celtic World Order podcast. As always, I'm Steve O'Matt. It's a pleasure to join us here at the home of Celtic Football Club. Of course, Parkhead, Celtic Park, whatever you want to call it, paradise. It's our home and it's the home of the team. It's a big thing that's been talking about for a while now in various forums, online, on the podcast. Everybody's talking about the stadium. They need to upgrade, they need to improve, they need to make the fan experience better. We've seen the accounts, we've all had our complaints, we've not been spending money on the pitch, we've not been spending on quality in the players, and it doesn't really look like we're investing, bar a field aside of course, in making things better. So the big question is, what are we going to spend? Is anything going to get spent on this home, on our stadium, to make it a better place to be? This year we spent more in corporate tax than we did ever on our record signing. And that is absolutely crazy. It's a layup. Look at the footprint of this stadium, look at everything's here. There is plenty of room for expansion, there's plenty of room to make this not only a destination for football, but a destination for visitors and tourists. Now, let's have a wee look around, because the question is, what's it actually like at Celtic Park when the fans aren't? And here we are on the Celtic Way. I remember when this first got done, everybody was like, wow, look at it, it's fantastic. And it still does look quite good, particularly at Christmas and at night when it's all done up, but they've got the sharks out, they've no left these sharks, they're abandoned, they're out of water, they're unsightly. I know it's a small gripe, but really when you have a wee look around and you start walking around the footprint of the stadium, you start to see that the care, the love and attention that's needed to keep this place looking tip-top for the likes of Thursday night's European games, well, it just isn't quite there. And we're here to point out some of those things that we think really should be improved and should have been improved a long time before now, at least for the start of the season. Let's take ourselves over to Caesar and start there. So here we are, we're down at Caesar statue, Billy McNeill, the European Cup aloft. This was the poster for the Celtic Way when it got opened, and again it's basic stuff, isn't it? You're going to say, Steve, a lot of the stuff you are moaning about is superficial, but I'm a great believer that first impressions really count. I mean, have a look at this here. You've got the great man there, and the statue looks fantastic. And look at how shoddy this is in front of you. Do you ever remember when this was first made? These were raised lettering. They actually came out and it went all the way down and it looked fantastic. Now, of course, a wee bit of vandalism. Bear in mind where we are in Glasgow. You're going to get that. You're going to get that for rival fans. But there's no excuse to make it look a wee bit better than that. And then if we bring ourselves up here and we have a look around at the actual plinth that the statue's on, we have a look. This is of course the 1967 starred walkway that fans like you and I have paid good money to get these stars put down there, with messages for maybe ones that have passed, maybe just for themselves. And when you have a wee look around, I know that there's a lot of these things here, but a lot of these are damaged, a lot of these are worn, they're unreadable, and it's meant to be something there that lasts a lifetime. Now, we all know when you make maintenance to things like this, gravestones and the likes, it's a bit of an art form. But at the same time, it really should be a wee bit more care, getting a clean down regularly, getting touched up if it can. I've spoke to a few folk that have got stars here, that have got bricks elsewhere, and they're almost unreadable. It just feels a wee bit poor. As we say, spend money on the stadium, give back to the fans. They've already given your money for that. And as I say, a lot of these things are for people that are memories, they're very important to them. It would be nice to make that sort of last the test of time. So if you're coming to visit Celtic Park, make sure that you come into the car park. That's right, it's another sign that they've no bother to fix. I know it's small, but against the details, devil's in the details. In the bin with that sign, because that is, they're trying to sell you something, they're trying to sell you merchandise of many in that store there. Come on, at least make the front door look presentable. So here we are right outside the very front door of the stadium. We know the stadium itself is an old building. We've spoke time over about the improvements that we could do. We've spoke about the potential of maybe increasing capacity. That very much seems like a pipe dream. We've heard that as long as we are in the SPFL, we're not going to get that expansion, but there's probably some things that we could do. Now, when we look at these statues of the great men, Brother Walfred's a founding father, the greatest ever manager, Jock Stein, of course, Jimmy Johnson, arguably many people's favourite ever Celt. We talk about maintenance, and I just want to beg this question. We'll see this as we walk around the stadium. What exactly do the staff employed in here at Celtic Park do on their days off? Is there such thing as ground maintenance staff? We've touched on the basics, and as everything you'll see pretty much in this video is superficial, but at the same time it's wee small details that wouldn't cost the earth to fix but would make all the difference. And again, call me petty, but we'll look at arguably one of Celtic's greatest ever players, and many the greatest player. Me personally, not my greatest ever Celt, but certainly, like Caesar down there, a man that deserves a statue. And you just have a look at him. How hard is it to come out and show Jimmy a bit of love and give him a wash, remove the residue from whatever stickers have been put on there, and get the mould off his shirt? Celtic shirts shouldn't be dirty, whether they're in bronze or whether they're in material. And here we are at the famous gazebo. The Champions League, the Europa League, the European football gazebo. Now, it is nice to see that some of the unsavoury spray painting that was put on there, as we say, we're all for protest, we're all for about sending a message to the board. We don't want to see that kind of stuff. But on the gazebo, it's glorious, isn't it? Well, actually not. It's absolutely terrible. It's verging on embarrassing. This is the basic stuff we're talking about when it comes to investment. How long, how many seasons have we had this pop-up gazebo with, come here and see this, round here, with all these generators, and there's a wee diesel or petrol generator around the back there to keep it nice and cosy, because you're inviting some of the biggest and best teams of European football, some of the best stars of football on the pitch are coming in here. Some of the greatest managers currently in European football are coming, walking outside the stadium into this tarted up. They give it, they dress it up, they put down a wee bit of carpet, they put up some signs to try and make it look like it's fancy and indoors, but it's not, it's outdoors. Celtic in 2025 shouldn't be holding press conferences for European football in a temporary structure. Come on. And this is how we stay warm on a European night at Celtic Park. So here we are, just round the corner for the Kerrydale Suite. Another facade with the brick wall of all the sort of names and the sort of bricks that you could buy. As I say, this one is actually looking in pretty good condition compared to some of the other ones that are there. Now, if you have a wee look around the stadium, we're talking about some of the work that they have done, and maybe, just maybe, they are doing some work, because if you actually look at the steel work all around, that has been prepared and it's been painted, and it has looked a lot better because it was incredibly rusty looking. So at least it's good to see that they're doing stuff there. Maybe they are doing this, maybe all this stuff that we're covering here today will be done within the next few weeks and you don't know about it. But again, communication, we're always talking about the club not communicating with the fans, and wouldn't it be nice for them to tell us, by the way, we know we didn't spend money here, but this is what we're doing. Share their vision, share the work that they are doing. Now, when you look around, there's basic things. I am not a builder, right? Look at how shoddy the old concrete looks everywhere. Now, when we talk about what we could do, I've often said that I think that extending the stadium capacity wise is going to be realistic. Well, I didn't really think it would be. However, we know that when you go into this old stand that's here, in areas of this, the concourse areas are really, really poor. Look in the old stand, they don't even have warm running water. You go in there and you've still got a wee hole in the wall pie shop, and you've got a pop-up one that you have to stand at. You go into those toilets and it's like I'm back to 1972. It's old tile, troughs in the floor material. It's really not fit for purpose. Now, one thing that I've always said Champion does, we look at some of the other European teams across football, and what they've done is they've extended out, where they've basically put a wraparound facade. There's no reason why Celtic couldn't build out a bit and have a wraparound, knock through a bit of the walls, make the concourse areas bigger, make it better for social gatherings, make it better for the sort of amenities within. That's definitely something that is achievable. It's certainly going to cost a fraction of the price compared to the idea that folk have said of putting an extra couple of hundred, no, 10,000 or so onto the stadium. There's no excuses. So here we are, we're round at the side of the Jock Stein stand, just outside the entrance to number 7, the Kerrydale Suite and the Sports Bar. This is essentially the sort of hub for the tourists that will arrive to do the stadium tours. Normally they now will go in through the Sports Bar and lead you in to do your tours. Sometimes it will be through the main door, they mix it up a wee bit. But generally speaking, this is where folk are going for their pre-match day experience, when you maybe don't have the same level of money to walk in the front door and get treated to that. But bear in mind what I said many times on this, first impressions really count. Say you spent a couple £100 for a hospitality experience in the Kerrydale Suite on a match day, and you turn up and this is what you get served up. Look, I'm not going to... It happens in football. The entrance is covered in ultras, away ultra stickers by the way, all over it, everywhere. You have a look up, down the side there, and you look, and round the side there, they have what should be frames for, you know, maybe posters, something promotional, something to do with the club. Broken, not finished. Got another one sitting here, absolutely nothing in it. It is small details, but the details really matter and they really do paint a picture. As I said, this should be home proud. It should be a case of putting things in place so that this is the best version of Celtic Park that it possibly can be, that wow factor is actually there and it's not confined to birthday care pish when people hear a cheer go up on a European night. So here we are in the wasteland. It's the side of the Jock Stein stand. Now as you can see here, there's still large sections of the wraparound banner that have not been replaced. Now, as we touched on just around a bit there at the Kerrydale Suite, as you can see, it doesn't look as if the paintwork on the metalwork on the outside here has quite made its way around. So again, talking about communication, there is obviously maintenance work getting done on the steel work. Is that the reason? Quite possibly why they haven't put up a new wraparound display. But again, it would be nice to tell fans that, because you'll get guys like me and Paddy behind the camera and everybody else out there moaning about these things. If you're actually doing the work, tell us, Celtic. Now, people have said those banners came down, and where the hell are they? Well, let me tell you where they are. Paddy, pan. There they are, there. They are wrapped up and fired down at the side of some storage containers on top of some Type 1. Now, as I said, it's just a bit of a tip. Look at this vast space that's around here. Look at the potential that is on our doorstep. Now you look at teams down south and you look at some of the footprints of their stadiums, it's phenomenal. It makes it a destination, it sucks in people. We've said this before, look at teams like Wrexham for example, use them as a prime example. They don't have the facilities to increase their stadium, they can't make it bigger, they could sell it out, but they realise that that is not a feasible method. So more often than not, on match days, on the footprint of where they live, they'll have like pop-up sort of, think it's been like markets, it's food, it's drinks, it's entertainment. They want people, rather than like being down there and you know, the merchant city spending for hours and hours and hours, or down the local pubs, they bring them into the footprint, they earn their money on the footprint of the stadium, and they get them into that shop and they get them to spend money on merchandise. There's so much untapped resources around here. We've spoke about it. The hotel, the museum, is going to be in the bin. It's phased out, doesn't look like it's happening. But as we said in a previous episode, we covered about the board, wouldn't it be great if we had somebody at arm's reach that had experience in these things? That's right, Chris Traynor of Forest Media. They sold for a heavy wage and part of Forest Hotels, who built from the ground up the Radisson Red in Glasgow, one of the first, I believe, the most new from the ground up Radisson that's been built. I think it's the first in a long time in Europe, and that was self-penned by Forest Hotels with Chris Traynor involved. We'll build it, you buy it, you run it, jobs are good. And wouldn't it be good to tap into that and do away with this kind of stuff? Now again, this is nitpicking. Everything in this video is predominantly nitpicking, but what exactly is going on here? You try to tell me there's no somewhere better to have your sort of food and beverage, your storage carts anywhere, and this monstrosity, the pop-up fan information booth, I can't even tell you when that's from. I don't think I've ever seen that thing out in the footprint. What is going on with this? Round at the back of the stadium, we've course, backing off on the cemetery. The tunnel, the road through, there isn't too much complaints that we can have about here. It is what it is, it's a means to an end. But as we well know, as we make our way right down to the end of this stretch, you start finding yourself in North Curve territory. Now, with something as bland and depressing as an underground sort of, looks more like a car park than a stadium, wouldn't it be good for a wee bit of buy-in? As we've seen inside sections of the stadium, we've seen murals from the sport artists, we've seen stuff from Jim Scullion, we've seen some of the phenomenal murals that have been done by the Green Brigade. Why not try and make this place a bit brighter, give it a bit more character, get the fans involved, and get some of the people that are involved in the fantastic murals inside the stadium up against these walls and really create some colour and some personality to this part of the stadium. In case in point, here we are, North Stand, just outside turnstiles 17 and 18. Look at this big, massive canvas that's there. The walls behind you, Paddy, all the way down, we could have fantastic murals, players past and present, slogans, things that really resonate and associate with the club. But there's a brilliant big canvas. Imagine some great big mural on there. Again, just creating some personality in this bold space. Still here on the underpass, and as we say, keep saying it, get the murals in. No space for that, Celtic, but plenty of space for your advertising boards. No kit out, no training range, no leisure wear. Let's replace that and get some Celtic personality. So keep them in turn and keep them in theme with Celtic having their finger right on the pulse. Prime example, again at the underpass right behind me. It just looks like a daft bit advertising, doesn't it? It's in a bit of a sorry state. It could be doing with replacing, but not just that, it's old. Treble. I mean, seriously, treble. How long ago was that, Celtic? Come on. So here we are, out in the footprint, just round at the side of the Lisbon Lion stand. This is one of the few areas where there actually has been some work done. As you can see, there's a sort of new rail and stairs going up in for away fans. That's something that had to be put in. Celtic did go out their way and get that work done. But again, it's one of the very few things that have been done. If you pan around, Paddy, you can still see down here at the side of the Lisbon Lion stand. This is one of the few areas where almost part of the wraparound is pretty much complete. Of course, where Legends is made. Great picture there, you lifting the European Cup. You can see the steelwork, as we have pointed out, they have worked their way around. The work has been getting done and it's been painted so far round, just pretty much round here to the corner area where you would get your Green Brigade going in, for example. It was unclear if that's going to make its way all around the side of the stadium above the underpass. We obviously were round at the opposite end at the Jockstein, and we saw that there were still parts there that had to be finished off and all the banners had been getting removed. But as we say, let us know what you're doing, Celtic, because I'm pretty sure unless we guys ourselves were down here on the ground and being pernickety and nosy about this, people might not notice it or know it. So here we are, almost made our way all right around the stadium at the side of the Lisbon Lion stand. Again, as you can see, the work has been done on the steelwork here, but again, just that whole idea of first impressions. Areas missing, areas torn. It would look a lot better if it just wasn't there. You know, take it down. If you're going to be replacing it, you're going to be doing work, it's fine, take it down. Just looks a wee bit better. Now bear in mind, on Thursday, we're going to be European game at home against Braga. You're going to go as away fans. But Braga will be familiar with us. But I bet you when some of those fans turn up again, they wouldn't expect it to look pretty much identical to the last time they were here, or in this case, in a wee bit of disrepair compared to the last time that they visited Celtic Park. Now, in terms of these banners, yep, we know people think, do away with them, rejuvenate the stadium, maybe clad it, as I said earlier, maybe extend out, do something fresh, a proper wraparound. But it more than likely looks like these are going to be things that are replaced. I'm really interested to see what they decide to do with it. What have you thought of the previous wraparounds on the stadium? Personally, I feel that they've lost a wee bit of sort of individuality, a wee bit of sort of character. My favourite was always the one, of course, of all the legendary players from many eras, going right back to the sort of founding Celtic team. That was, of course, done by the sports artist, Jim Scullion. And an interesting fact about that was that there was actually players there that he had to paint and almost photorealism, where he was given an old blurry photo that simply wouldn't have blown up to the proper size and had that clarity. And Jim took his time, painstakingly recreated in perfect picture detail some of those old players. That was my favourite. That was definitely, it was something that went through the eras, that you could pick out your favourite player from any certain team, any certain era. And for the older fans, the younger fans, it's a combination of everything. Recently it's been these kind of bland, basic, you know, Photoshop, anything that a digital creator could do. And I must say, on top of the one of the old players that was my old favourite, I also liked iconic moments. Remember, we used to have the banners, the iconic teams and iconic moments. That's the kind of thing that I'd like to see reintroduced whenever what goes up comes back. So here we are, Paddy. We've went round the stadium. Thanks to Paddy, now in front of the camera, not behind the camera. But Paddy, we decided to come and do this. We've been chatting in the fan group about the various things. We've spoke about it in podcasts gone by, about, you know, the state of play at the stadium. It needs a wee bit of TLC, as we said. It's about being home proud, you know. This is the face. This is what fans see week in, week out. This is what away fans see. This is what players who maybe want to come and see walk up to. And is it nitpicking? Absolutely. You better believe it is. We're talking about, you know, corrosion on metalwork. We're talking about sticker residue. We're talking about broken signs. But it all paints a picture, doesn't it? Because the man that everybody loves to hate, Peter Wall, once said that Celtic spend so much money in corporate tax that it doesn't make sense for us to do it. And again, in those accounts, you see that Celtic have given more in corporate tax than we did on our record signing. So Paddy, you won't be criticised for spending it on the house, will you?
No, of course not. It's one of the things, Steve, when people will say you're nitpicking silly wee things, but like you said, show a bit of pride. If it's your own house, you're going to rather invest the money than give it to the tax man, for God's sake. Do you know what I mean? And that's kind of what we're doing. Listen, the Celtic way is incredible. It always has been since it got built, and I think you need to keep up with these things. You need to make sure that they are getting maintained, they are getting looked after, and things like that. Now, listen, we are in a hell of a better state than a lot of other teams in the Scottish football. And when you go to some of their stadiums, you see brickwork falling away and things like that. We're in a decent way at the minute, if you think about it, but it's just, cosmetic things. And like you said, teams like Braga coming here, I don't know when the last time we played Braga was, but I guarantee the stadium hasn't changed. No. And that's one of the things that I think should be kept up with. It's all about upkeep. Definitely.
It's basic maintenance. It's things that we should be doing. Now, of course, we have invested in the Barfield project there, and we've seen wee snippets of that. That is a start, okay? That is a start. But I think that your home, this one here, this is your sort of crown jewel. This is the one that you should really be looking after. And it comes back to what we were talking about earlier. If you're in that old stand, you still are not blessed with such a thing called as hot running water. How ridiculous is that? We look at this footprint, it is massive. Now, Celtic have shown that they have, when it's suited them, done certain things. The key point, the old school, the old ticket office, removed. Remember that? It's a listed building, you can't do anything with it. Well, you can do something with it, and they have done something with it, and have made it a car park. We had talked about the hotel, we talked about the museum, all these things. Now, I understand there is ways that those can be built, as we discussed, but I just want to flip it over. Paddy, you mentioned, of course, brickwork falling apart. Of course you are talking about Ibrox. I've all seen the cracks. And it's often a joke, isn't it? The fans say, the crumble dome, it's falling apart. Well, as much as you don't want to do it, when you have a proper look, when you turn up as we have done today on a non-match day, and you really sort of put the magnifying glass onto areas of your stadium, it's also looking a wee bit sorry for itself. But on Rangers, they're meant to be skint, Paddy. Now, see whether you think Edmiston House is a great idea or garbage. They've done it. And it is paying for them because it's a venue, it's a match day destination. They put on entertainment, you can go and get a drink, you can get yourself something to eat, there's stuff happening. It's a hub for fans to attend to. They've done that whilst being skint. Yeah. We've also seen they've refitted the tunnel. We've also seen they've refitted areas of hospitality suites. They've put in a new restaurant, all whilst being skint. We've seen that, alright, metal joke aside, when they had to do some work to make the interior better for disabled fans and in general get a couple extra seats in. They done it. All well skint. So, what's the excuses for Celtic, Paddy?
We don't have one. And like you say, Steve, with that Edmondson House thing, it's a great idea. It's something that if Celtic had that, it'd be incredible. We've got the sports bar there. You can go into the sports bar before
but it's small by comparison.
It's small, and listen, you're lucky to get in. I've been up a few times and you turn up about an hour and a half before the game and you're still standing outside queuing, waiting to get in, and that shouldn't be the case. You pointed out a big bit of land up there, Steve, and I know they use some of that for car parks, for buses and stuff during away games, but during home games, sorry. Turn that into a nice wee bit for people to come. Affordable pricing, do you know what I mean? Not for the fan that can go into hospitality and spend a fortune, for the fans like me. I was going to say like me and you, like you guys, who can come and have a couple of beers and enjoy being on the campus, being on the site. Like you said, being at home. The thing is, we understand when it comes to talking. I just want to touch on it because it's a big thing that folk will continue to say, Paddy. The idea of an expansion, building on the old stand, maybe getting an extra 10,000, 20,000 in there, is something that, of course, would I love to see it? Yes, I would like to see it. But I'm also very realistic, and I understand that anything that the club want to, or if they're willing to spend money on it, that it needs to be sort of cost effective and look to get you some returns back. There's no doubt with, as you know, if you're a homeowner and you want to do basic stuff, you want to go and put a fence up around your back garden, you want to do your driveway, the cost it's skyrocketed, it's just been through the roof. Now you add that to being a commercial project, a massive commercial project, it is now going to be tens of millions easily. Maybe reaching more. That's what I would say. So, how long would it take Celtic to get that money back? Would you fill it out? Absolutely you would, but it's a slow drip thing. But things like building an additional space, like Rangers did with the Esmond House thing, there's ways that you can get around it. There's ways that you can make it cost effective. It can be prefab. Doesn't all need to be brick. Doesn't all need to be metal. There's effective ways to make space and make an actual destination area. Could be a tent, Steve. Could be one of these big gazebos.
Aye, that's a brilliant idea. Change the tent into an entertainment space. If you're going to have a redneck a pop-up tent out there, at least make it worthwhile. But we joke, Paddy, but there is massive untapped resource here. There's huge footprint here that the club have got, and I've often said as well, and I know a lot of people don't like this because certain backgrounds and things like that, and I'm looking at the Emirates Stadium, folk go, I don't want to get in bed with Emirates as a company, and I get that, right, but I was always surprised that with Emirates having the Emirates Arena right across there, that they didn't want to work something in and basically wrap the two together, and as you said, make it almost like a sports campus. Yeah,
something like that would be ideal, and it's been right on the verge of the stadium, right in the heart of it, and for me that's what you want. That's the kind of the idea. I've been lucky enough to go to some stadiums abroad, and like you said, Steve, when you walk into these places, and it's just like a massive campus. You even go to the rugby at Murrayfield, you walk into the rugby at Murrayfield and you're in a campus. You've got merchandise shops in there, you've got your burger vans, you've got parts where you can buy your drink and stuff like that, and it's absolutely brilliant. I know they probably don't want to endorse the drink into the stadium because football fans behave a little bit different, but
apparently
we do. Listen, let's be honest, we do. But that's something, if you're going to do it, then you police it. You get it looked at properly and you do it the proper way, and I just think it's something that needs to be done, and that money that they make off of that would invest and surely paying a maintenance man to look after the stadium. Of course,
but I just think that we need a sort of maintenance. Maybe there is, and as we've pointed out, it's good to see that some work's getting done, not that you would know because the club aren't great at telling you that, but it's undoubtedly, it's just another wee factor, it's just another wee gripe that the likes of ourselves and all those other people that are involved in the Celtic Fans Collective, they are wanting the club to be progressive, they're wanting to drive the club forward, they want the best version of the club. Of course, first and foremost on the field, that's the most important thing, but we always say we want to be world class in everything that we do. World class basics. If you can't get the basics, you're looking after your house, giving your fans some running water, by the way, that'd be a nice start, then how can you be trusted to do the other things like putting the team on the pitch? Now I just want to touch, we're not inside, we're not filming inside. Be interested to see people in these various areas of the stand filming wee videos and showing what it's like, because I've been in the stadium very regular myself, sometimes depending on where I'm at, I'll be different areas of the stadium, but there'll be parts that are probably in a state that I don't even know about. But one thing that I will say, and again, it just shows you the laziness, we looked at the treble banner around the back there for the advertising. We'll see right here, right there you are, just where the boys sit, often sit there with a friend. And as you come up one of the vomitories, you'll see they've always got like the sort of squares and there's advertising on top, and it'll be like, it's over the years, it's been Nike or it's Adidas or Daffabet or whatever. The one that's there has been spray painted black, right? And I kid you not, do you know what it says underneath it, Paddy? NTL. When would we sponsored by NTL, Celtic?
I think I used to work for them back then, so I've been offshore for 18 years.
Are NTL even a thing?
No, I don't
Answers
think
the postcard, I don't know.
I think I must have about 18 years old or something, Steve. You look back, you think about Lisbon Lion wearing the NTL jersey, so that just shows you
so
things like that.
Well, anyway, Paddy, I think we've done enough moaning, eh?
Aye.
But hopefully we have given you an alternative view, if you will, to the experience of a slight tour, at least on the outside of Celtic Park. Listen, it's still our home. I still love it, as I say. When you drive by here or you walk up here at night and it's all in the lights and it looks fantastic. I wouldn't change it for the world in terms of what it means to me, but I would change it in terms of I would look after it a wee bit.
Exactly. And that's it. All it needs is a bit of TLC, a wee bit of love. Sort out the banners, sort out the steelwork, sort out the big gazebo out the front, get that away. Aye, like you say, there's a few wee teething problems, but at least what we want is transparency. We want Celtic to come out and say, listen, yes, we are doing this work, this is costing us so many millions, this is why we haven't.
And it's small wins, isn't it?
Of course it is.
We come back to wanting change. We talk about the goal of the collective is to put meaningful change on the board, right? We've said that. We obviously are wanting the person who's been feeding the information out. We have surmised, we've guessed, we've put together that's possibly Peter Wall, right? Yeah. That's a very small, easy win for Celtic, right? Get that. It looks like you're backing the manager and it's giving the fans a bit of change that they want. That you know that they'll get on board with. It doesn't change it, but that would be one easy win. Another easy win, as we said, is, by the way, we're doing work at Celtic Park. Here's what we've been doing. This is how long it's going to take. And this is the next steps. This is what you can expect. So don't fret, because even if guys like us turn up here and moaning, or people moaning on the forums or on the podcast or whatever other platform talking about it, because we'd be able to explain and you could understand and say, okay, these things take time.
Yeah.
But another easy win, Paddy, wouldn't it?
That is, and that's it, Steve. It's just about like we say, transparency, having somebody there that's going to tell us what's going on behind the scenes, and why we're not showing that investment, why we're not showing the same ambition as the fans, because I'm sure every single one of the Celtic fans come up this way, and we do appreciate the stadium and we do love it, like you said, but yeah, it is becoming a wee bit worse for wear, and that's not what we want to see.
And that's it. It's about pushing on. It's about being class leading in everything we do.
Exactly.
That's all we want to see. There's many facets to what we need to get fixed. On the pitch is part of it, behind the scenes is part of it, but the general presentation is something that will go a long way as well. So anyway, listen, we will get out your hair. Hopefully you've enjoyed this and it's given you a wee sort of peeled the curtain back a wee bit of what we need to do. As we said, this is just one of many things that we think need addressed, and I'm sure a lot of fans out there would agree with. And hopefully we'll maybe look at some of the other things that could be improved at Celtic. Of course, we're not going to be able to get into the academy and talk about how that needs improved through root and branch. We're not going to get an invite down to Lennoxtown or Barrafield, but we'll talk about these topics as time goes on, and hopefully we start to see a wee bit of change sooner rather than later, Paddy.
Definitely.
Thursday night awaits, Braga awaits. You change your confidence level for the last time?
Not really, no. It's one of the ones looking forward to it, but yeah, through gritted teeth, through kind of hands over the eyes. I just think that they're going to come here and have a go, and I feel like we'll struggle a wee bit with that.
Well, maybe we could get psychological edge, cold showers for them, no hot water.
Aye.
That'll do the trick, won't
That's
it?
it, definitely.
Play to your advantages. If that's what you've not got, then make it work for yourselves. Jokes aside. Anyway, listen, take care of yourselves. Thanks for watching, and Paddy,
as always, guys, hail, hail.